You did have to make that pit stop. Got almost 2 laps down as fast as they were running, and then no cautions come out for a long, long time.
Tell you what, I worked my tail off to try to keep up, and I just kept on digging. The old car held together.
You run it just about as hard as you go all day, I reckon.
I had to.
Well, congratulations. You got that $100,000 guaranteed now by Winston. Of course, they're not going to give you a check today, but you're guaranteed that, but you're closer to that $1 million.
Well, I will keep working hard on it, Ned.
Okay, he'll be at Charlotte in a few weeks on the 3rd leg of that.
Bill Elliott, who currently is 4th in the Winston Cup point standings. That'll move him up a bit, winning here today. As we said, it is his 8th career win.
We'll talk to a couple other drivers involved in this exciting finish at Talladega when we return. This is MRN, the Motor Racing Network.
Race fans, I know that you want to hear more comments from other drivers. We'll go back to victory lane, and Hardy Smith is standing by champion.
Jerry Punch is standing by in the garage with the 2nd place finisher, Kyle Petty.
Well, equaling his best finish ever, Barney. Kyle Petty's got a big smile on his face here in the 7-11 colors. He climbs out of this Ford Thunderbird, and Kyle, that last lap was a wild scramble.
It got close. I knew, with about 10 laps to go, Bill just pulled off and left everybody. And, I knew it was going to come down to KO. And I was fortunate enough for him to pass me. He came up on me, and I was afraid he was going to sit there and ride in 3rd. And, my car ran super good up off 2 all day long. It was super strong. And KO went to the inside of the racetrack, and I stayed on the outside and got on the outside of him. And then took a few lessons from Daddy when Daddy beat him down at Daytona last July, I guess, and kind of tried to keep him pinched down through the tri-oval here. So it would try to cut the wind a little bit, and was fortunate enough to beat him by a couple feet.
Kyle, latter part of the broadcast, a lot of nostalgia buffs were talking about it. It's good to see the Wood Brothers car up front, and it's good to see a Petty up front again, but it's both in the same car, so it has to make you feel real good.
Oh, yeah, it makes me feel great, It's good to see the Wood Brothers car back running competitive. Buddy run competitive in it, and Neil did, but, we've run real consistent this year. We've been real fortunate, and, it's good to see a Petty up front, but as far as I'm concerned, it's good to see this Petty up front.
Well, that's Kyle Petty finishing 2nd at Talladega.
Boy, has certainly turned his career around. There is no question about that.
Oh, no doubt, Barney. He and they are just tickled, and this was a tremendous run for them today. We'll be going back to Ned Jarrett in victory lane, and he might get a comment from someone on the record average speed for today's race. It's unbelievable, Ned. 186.288 miles per hour, the average speed for 500 miles.
Well, Mike, we're standing by with Ernie Elliott, who engineered this Coors Ford in here. Ernie, they just gave me the word, a new world record for a 500-mile race at over 186 miles an hour. Of course, you qualified at over 209, which is also a world close course record for a stock car. How fast are you going to make this thing go?
I don't know. We're going to try to go faster if the good Lord's willing, Ned. First of all, I got to thank the good Lord. And second of all, I just like to say that I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be able to live in a country like this, that the American dream can still come true. That, if you're willing to work, you can do whatever it takes to get to the top.
Well, you folks have certainly done a super job with that. Now, how fast do you think that you can make this thing go? When you come back here in July, are you shooting at 210, 212, or what?
Well, I think when you look at things, Ned, what's the limit? I mean, the limit is what you limit yourself to. And if you feel like you can run 212, then 212 is possible. So, I think a good goal when we come back would be 212, and I don't think it's unsafe. I think we saw one of the safest Talladega races year we've ever seen.
Well, we certainly did, and congratulations on a super run. It's a particularly happy day down here. It always is in Victory Lane, but there's something a little special down here today. Bill and Ernie and Dan's parents are celebrating their 42nd wedding anniversary today. So what a wedding anniversary present that the young sons have given. Mildred, I know that you're proud of these boys.
Very, so proud.
Are you a big race fan?
Not really, not until Bill started racing.
Do you watch him run out there at these speeds?
Yes, but I walk a lot, Ned.
You do? Well, congratulations on this 42 years.
Thanks so much.
You have a super family here.
It's quite an anniversary party with 122,000 guests. We'll be right back.
Time to swing around the Speedway and check with our turn announcers and everyone else on the crew for the Timex Timeliest Move of the Race Award, which is worth $500. First, for a nomination, let's go to Eli Gold in turn 2.
Well, let me give an honorable mention, Barney, to Bobby Hillen. The youngster started 7th, qualified so very well, and kept his nose clean all day and ran a good race, but I'll give him an honorable mention. I've got to go with Kyle Petty, with, again, all due respect to Bill Elliott for that matter. But Kyle came around and he battled one of the toughest in the business, one of those money drivers we were talking about earlier, to pick up second spot. Great run for Kyle today. I'll cast a nomination in his direction.
Let's go up to Mark Garrow at turn 3.
I'll have to echo Eli's vote for Kyle Petty. He showed great patience in staying behind Kyle. He could have got excited, pulled by Cale with 2 or 3 laps to go, and not had a chance if he had led himself to believe that he actually had a chance at running after Bill Elliott. But he made the right mature move, saying, I can't catch Bill, but I sure in heck can get second place if I play the waiting game. He did that. My vote goes to him.
Dave Sutherland?
Well, we have to give honorable mention to Jeff Bodine for keeping his car straight once he caught the wall here in turn 4. But Kyle Petty may have equaled his best output so far in terms of finishes, but it had to be his biggest finish of his career, and he certainly outdrove a real fine driver in Cale Yarborough to get that second spot.
Let's go to Garage and Jerry Punch.
I'd have to echo a vote for Kyle Petty. After being up here in turn 4 and watching him come through the trial, well, Kyle did not give an inch. As he said, he learned from his daddy watching him back when he got his 200th in Daytona last July. You got to hang in there and give them what they'll take and what they'll give, and to try to get a good finish. And he did it today. He came home second.
Ned?
Well, I think Buddy Baker certainly deserves an honorable mention here, Barney. As you pointed out, right near the end of the race, he had several pretty timely moves during the race, keeping that thing harnessed between the walls, but he almost got her out of shape down at the start-finish line, pulled her back in. Of course, only his driving ability helped him to do that, but still, you got to go with that Kyle Petty situation.
Okay, we have 4 votes for Kyle Petty, so looks like he's going to end up because we can't outvote him, but I'm going to have to go with Bobby Hillen Jr. He did make a lot of timely moves here today, and it was good to see this young driver who is determined to make it in Winston Cup racing run up in the front pack all afternoon. He was up there almost from the start of the green flag, fell back a little bit. Several times we watched him through the dog leg, and this is a critical point at Alabama International Motor Speedway. You can get in trouble so easy here. He had the car that would run up there, but he didn't overdrive it at all. He used real good judgment. He made a lot of good moves. I'll have to cast a vote his way.
I'd vote for the entire field, Barney, for helping us run a race that had only 2 caution flags in it and contributed that tremendous average speed.
Okay, I'm out of the light. Okay. Bill, there is no other word to describe today's performance but wow. Unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you what, that Coors Melon oil pump Thunderbird just kept right on digging. You know, we got some time down there, and I felt like if, well, I'm going to win this race, I'm going to do what I got to do, and I felt like, well, I'll just let it all hang out. And it held together, and it handled good, and you know, what else can you say?
Okay, describe your feelings when the hood was up in that car and you were going down almost 2 laps.
Well, I really, you know, it felt like I was down 10 laps as long as I was in the pits. But, you know, the crew worked hard. They saw what the problem was. They got it fixed. They got me back on the racetrack. And I felt like it was up to me to do what I could. And then the car held together, so they did a heck of a good job on it, too.
Okay, now what was your strategy at that point once you did get back in the track?
Well, there wasn't one. Go as hard as you could go and hope it stayed together.
Were you worried about it holding together at that point? Because you absolutely could not back off at all.
That's what really worried me. You know, I know Ernie and James Lyle does have a good job on the engine and all the people back at the shop. And, you know, that was really one thing that really worried me.
What about that $100,000?
Well, I'll tell you what, I still can't believe that we've got that much, and I'm looking forward to the other $900,000. I hope we can get it. We're going to work hard for it.
What about the pressure of this week coming into this race, prohibitive favor? Talk about that a little bit.
It was a lot, you know, and I know that one thing, I know Thursday I had a lot on me, and it's getting a little bit hard for me to handle, but I feel like that I'm getting a little better at it, and I feel like that I'll try to relax. We'll continue to work hard. You know, we was tired. We worked hard a lot, or long hours back at the shop coming here, and I felt like that showed on me Thursday, too. I went home, we're back at the motel last night, and I got a good night's rest, and we came back and we worked hard, and we won the race.
Okay, now what do you do going to Charlotte, which is, of course, the track for the million?
Well, that's hard to say. I'm sure we'll give it our best shot and hope we can get that Winston million.
Great, Bill.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Good job.
We got to shoot another ad.